I would just shut the hell up and I would listen. And I would ask open-ended questions. And sometimes, like, if you're listening closely enough, clients would use like a unique word. I would reflect that word back to them, and that worked. So today, I'm going to be doing first 2 one-on-one demos with early access customers of Grobo. So as I've shared and referenced a little bit in the past, we did a pre-launch, pre-sales event, if you will, back in December of 2023, just before Christmas. We sent a couple of emails. We haven't done any other promotion since then, and we've received many dozens of signups to get early access to Grobo as soon as it's ready. And right now, it is ready enough. We're not actually going to start charging customers yet. We did charge everyone $1 to reserve their spot. And as part of the incentive to sign up, I said, hey, like for anyone who gets on the train here as far as early access customers, I personally will get on a call and give you a demo and help you get onboarded and answer all your questions. So that's what I'm doing. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of what I know to work and how I'm preparing for this based on past experience, because this is not the first time that I've done pre-sales as well as just the whole concept of customer development. So the strategy here is to come into the calls as prepared as possible. So if a customer in general, or even a client in the past, like in the case of AutoGrow, Grobo is formally branded as AutoGrow, but with a new platform, new name, new branding, I would just often look up, okay, who's the person I'm meeting with? What can I learn about their background personally, professionally? Just at a minimum, read over their LinkedIn, read over their website for their business, and just sort of kind of load that context into my mind going into a call. Like literally in the minutes before the call, I'm making sure that that context is just in my mind, because I find that if you are immediately loading the context of who the person is on the call, you're going to be more empathetic and you're going to make more kind of connections in terms of building rapport and actually showing that, you're doing your homework and you are putting the customer's interest and your interest in them as the primary in the call. You're looking to help them. You're not just looking for a sale. And that brings me to the next point, which is that in the past, in 2017, we relaunched what was then our productized done-for-you funnel service, where, we would give people a complete team, but it was more focused on funnels at the time. And, we would kind of build your funnel and optimize it for you. And it was a $7 for the first week trial. The standard price point was right around $17.99 per month. So, and this was, before all the pandemic money was printed. So back in the day when $17.99 actually meant something. Yeah. So I guess in today's dollars, what that would be like well over, maybe $2,500 a month. It wasn't like uber expensive, but it wasn't cheap. And so I was able to achieve, though, on those calls, a 70% close rate. Okay. And that's, approximate, but I know for a fact it was right around 70%. Because at the time I was doing back of the hand math, going from call to call to call, close, 30% approximately did not close. Somewhere, took a little more follow up, once or twice on the emails, but usually almost always it was a sign up on the call, and I would take the billing information. And part of how I was able to achieve, even though it was just a trial, because we also had a high conversion rate on the trial itself, but the trial leading into a relative high ticket productized service, which, especially was high ticket when you consider that most customers would stay for 6+ months. How was I able to do this? Well, it was very much, so it was a service, right? So basically the service is whatever you advertise it to be. And then the building of it can actually happen in real time, unlike with software where you really have to kind of front load at least a significant portion of the work to get the basic features in place like we have today with Grobo. And then you can start to onboard. With a service, it's more like you can actually just sell first and build out, the structure on the team as far as operational delivery later and or in real time. And I've done that a few times and it's worked out very well for clients and for us. Again, how I was able to do that, basically, selling a brand new service where not everything was as well defined as it came to be at the time. Listening. Listening was a really key point, other than kind of loading the context of who the person was and what their business was and really putting the focus on them. But part of how I put the focus on clients on these calls for this brand new productized service was I would just shut the hell up and I would listen. and I would ask open-ended questions, and I would listen to also the words that they would use. And sometimes, like, if you're listening closely enough, and I mean really listening, just have your ears open. Sometimes I would notice that clients would use like a unique word. Naturally, in the conversation, I would reflect that word back to them, later on in the call. I would say, oh, well, because blah, 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 this sounds like exactly what you said. That's why I think this is going to be potentially a great fit. And that worked. It was what a friend of mine who was in conversion optimization with landing pages, e-commerce funnels, later came to call the visitor vocab technique. This was Giles Thomas, professional friend. We collaborated together on some stuff in the past. But yeah, he called it the visitor vocab technique, where basically, again, you're kind of taking the language of the customer or client and you're putting it onto the page. And because it's the page and the pitch, in a sense, becomes like a mirror of what the customer or client is looking for and how they would describe it in specific and or emotional and or logical terms, the conversion rate is more likely to be higher. So listening and then reflecting back, using similar vocabulary, especially vocabulary that stood out, that I think helped the conversion rate greatly. Furthermore, what I found to be really helpful as far as not just a close, because there's different levels of quality for a close. You can go for the more like, why? It's just $7. It's just a trial. You got the guarantee, blah, blah, blah. You could go for the more aggressive close. And actually, don't think that it's necessarily bad to ask that. Largely, many times it's part of how you ask, for the sale. Not just how you're asking for the sale, but that tonality. But moreover than that, tactically speaking, really just focusing on the customer or the client, the person in front of you. You want to go for aim to understand. Let them sell you would be the mindset that I would actually go into the call with. Like, focus on the person in front of you, not on the sale. When you focus on the sale, you just more tend to lose the opportunity, versus if you focus on the person. And I would find that I would actually get sold on them. Like, oh, I kind of walk in the call like, I really don't know if it's a fit for you. Like, let me see. And this is called qualifying, of course. If you've been in sales for longer than 5 minutes, you qualify leads. But I would do it for me in a way where it was very, very genuine. And I think that also showed in terms of like their point of view, because I think that helped, again, the close, because I was sincerely trying to understand what is their problem, what are their pain points, and do I really believe that this productized service is going to be a fit for them. And so today, when I start to get on these calls today and this week, if you find this interesting, where I'm kind of sharing with you, pulling with you from stories and my experiences from started my first business when I was in college. So it's closer to 17 to 18 years total in terms of experience as an entrepreneur, working on startups, building products, productized services. But if you like this format, please consider liking and subscribing to the video, and I'll be sure to continue to share the journey and insights and answer any questions that you might have that I think would benefit you and others as you leave them in the comments. And I love to hear from you in general in the comments, okay? And if you find this valuable, consider sharing it with others, because it's thanks to people like you who share it that the channel is growing and that more people are gaining value from the value in these videos. That being said, again, you want to be focused on the person in front of you. So that's the mindset that I'll be going into this call with as well. It's just, I don't even have a pitch deck prepared. I mean, maybe I'll throw something together in the last few minutes here, but I think I just want to keep it as human as possible. I think at most, like, my whole pitch will be to just kind of talk about, okay, well, this is why I and the team have built Grobo. Like, we wanted to solve our own problem as it relates to automating different business processes and systems using the power of AI for faster delivery, for up to 90% savings in terms of costs. And then our team can focus on other parts of the business and developing new skills rather than just doing, some tasks that are very, potentially repetitive. So it saves a lot of time, saves a lot of money, and just helps you to literally automate your growth over time. This is meant to be a general purpose tool using AI to do that. So whether it's, content, copy, social media posts, email newsletters, editing, and then the integrations that are going to make it a lot more useful too. So you can use it for research pretty soon. The integrations we're working on right now But yeah, I'm just going to go into the call and at most for the pitch the problem. And then say, so since you've signed up and you've actually put your credit card and some money down, how does that problem resonate with you? And what are your expectations? What are you looking for? How do you want to use this to automate, the growth of your business? And then honestly, I'm just going to shut the hell up and I'm going to listen. And, after we talk for a little bit, I will be probably sharing the screen and just giving them a real-time live walkthrough. I hope all goes well. I've tested and tested. I'll be testing again right after this video. That is the plan. Come prepared, know a bit about the person, know generally, especially in these early stages, like what I'm going to say. But otherwise, I'm just open to receiving qualitative data in terms of feedback and questions from our early customers here. And then taking that and going back to the team and saying, okay, we're on the right track. Let's continue to get these features done. Let's give this customer, full access now, and so on and so forth. The other thing I'm going to be looking for closely, especially since we are early to market here, is what features are desired that maybe aren't present. What features are like, oh, wow, you have that. Like, that's really exciting, because that will help, I think, with copywriting later on. I almost like to think that the customers, in this case, just as clients in the past, when we had productized services that we were developing real time, I would just take what patterns I would hear on calls and I would put that into the copy on the landing page. And that significantly helped our conversion rate too. So that by the time someone would actually get on the call, the leads were that much more qualified and sales calls would actually just be much shorter too. The conversation would just be so much further advanced by comparison when the landing pages were more built out and more reflective of client questions and interests and the language they would use. I'm looking to listen and get that data and to also just kind of push and confirm, okay, are there any underlying assumptions that I'm making about, the Grobo platform in terms of what we're building that maybe there's something unexpected in terms of either an opportunity or in terms of, I don't know, I'm not sure, honestly, because we did a pretty good job of planning out exactly how the problem is going to look, the platform that is, and the problem that solves, and giving a visual demo of it when we opened up for pre-sales. It'll be interesting to see what sort of data and feedback we get. So stay tuned to hear how it goes. I'll share with you more insights as I learn them from going through this. Part of what I'm advising you to do here in terms of pre-sales and customer development and customer or client interviews, if you will, sales calls. It's coming from a place of experience. This is not the first time I'm doing this. I've done this at least 10 times at this point. My first business, I went door to door. My pitch deck was just like a paper. It was a flip book, basically. And I would just keep showing up. And I put on a tie and do the uncomfortable collar as well. And I just kept walking through the college town, showing up, and just pitching and listening. Learn to just listen. And that helped me to refine the pitch as well as the product. So I hope you found this video valuable. If there are certain questions or topics in this topic or branching off that you're looking for answers to, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, hear your feedback in general. And once again, please consider liking and subscribing. Keep Groboing and stay focused and keep moving forward. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.